Hey guys, hello, welcome in. You're back here with us on Back to Brilliance podcast. I'm your host, Henry, along with Joseph. Say what's up, Joseph.
Hey, what's up?
Good stuff, good stuff. Guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in today. We ask that, if you would subscribe and leave a review, it helps great people like you find our podcast. And yeah, we thank you guys for being here with us. So we're going to just jump right into it today. We got a few topics to go over. And, hopefully what we share here will help you out along your journey. So today we're going to be talking about probably one of the most key things in life is that helps a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people is time management. And there's a phrase that's been coined: time management is life management. So we're going to go over a couple of things today and a couple of experiences that we've experienced in our lives, and how we're working through it and trying to overcome it. So we hope that it resonates with you. So what you got, Joseph? What's on our agenda today?
Yeah, so whenever we were coming up with this topic, I just kind of it just kept going back to the fact that a lot of people spend their day just wasting time on things that they don't even realize is wasting time.
Mm.
So like things like doom scrolling, as they say, or just scrolling to scroll, right? You're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, X, whatever, and you're just scrolling just to scroll, right? Like there's no real rhyme or reason to it, but you're just doing it.
Mm.
And 1 hour turns into 3 hours. And I've heard that so many times. And that's honestly why I've tried to stay away from social media, in a large part, because it's such an addictive thing to do. And also it's like a movie where you kind of just turn off your brain and just watch it all day.
Right. No, it definitely happens. It gets to us. Sometimes we just. I think the doom scrolling kind of comes and stems from us running away from the things that we have to be responsible for. So it kind of provides a scapegoat, temporarily. But man, that scapegoat, takes over and you get drifted. It's like being in the beach. You start here when you go in the water, and then just the currents pull you. That's kind of how doom scrolling is,
Hmm.
and it's like the currents of life. When they come in, you just don't want to deal with it, so you get drifted out. Deep, deep in there, and wasting time is not good. When we're dealing with our life, and we only have so much time in our lives. I think statistics say like the average lifespan is 76 years. So it's like wherever you're at in life, you really have to manage that. Look, we talked on the previous podcast about, time being your greatest commodity. You can always make more money. You can always do this. You can always do that, but you can never get back that time, So doom scrolling is, one of those things that I think a lot of us get caught on, and I think it just stems from avoiding the responsibilities that we have to take care of.
Definitely. Yeah. Someone that I look up to, they would say that's staying in the comfort zone.
Mm.
They're being comfortable. They don't want to do the thing that gives them anxiety. They don't want to do maybe they don't want to take out the trash, so they're like, oh, I'll scroll for 30 minutes, and then
Right.
again that 30 minutes turns into an hour or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Very
so
easy to do. Very easy
yeah,
to do for sure.
exactly. Yeah, it's like I mean, I'm guilty of it too, right? Like I'll watch YouTube videos. That's my doom scroll. I'll watch like an hour long YouTube video, and then I'm like, what's the next one?
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that I like, personally, if you are going to doom scroll, which we all are guilty of it, even watching a YouTube video, I started doing a lot of things in, a 2X because a lot of it is fluff. A lot of it is, stuff that they're just putting out for the sake of content. But that's what social media has done to society is it's just a fight for distraction, right? It's to distract you from the things that you actually are gonna, should be taken care of. So yeah, doom scrolling is definitely, a time waster for sure. So we have to manage that and put a little, you know, time limit on that. So
Yeah, definitely. And that kind of leads me into like my next topic, or like the next thing that came to mind with time, or like just wasting time. And that have it's people that just want to be negative online, or being keyboard warriors, right?
mm,
People that just want to argue for the sake of arguing. Like I've seen that so many times where people will be like, "Hey, like give me something to argue about," and it's just like you spend all of your day just being surrounded by negativity, and it's unproductive. And not only that, but it's just like it it's I feel like it hurts your soul in a way, right? Because again, it's all
mm.
negativity.
Absolutely. No, I agree, bro. I mean, for those of you guys that have seen those negative comments in other posts and things like that, it's a thing. Again, it's a projection, of things that they're not dealing with, and that all comes back to the time management, and making sure that we're doing what we have to, and that's just a demonstration. From my standpoint, that they have nothing better to do, so they go on there and try to bring people down. It's like crabs in a bucket mentality, to try to bring people down to where they're at. But that's why it's important, you stay inspired, you stay, motivated, reading, getting around those people that are going to lift you up. So that's kind of what our podcast is here to do, right?
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. There's a famous quote by Mark Twain. It kind of goes like I don't know it exactly, but it's like, if you argue with a fool, you become a fool, or like there's no real difference between you and the fool that you're arguing with. Or even another quote that goes along the lines of, uh, you know, like if you argue with people who argue all day, you're never going to win, because like that's just what they do, right? Like there's never going to be a resolution to it. Like they're just going to keep going for the sake of it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, agreed. And we all know people like that and seen that, so it's yeah, we just have to make sure we don't fall into that, and again, the ways that I've learned to do that is just try to find the positivity in everything, because every negative situation can be turned into a positive if you're willing to put in that effort,
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I keep talking in quotes that if you're not you're either learning or you're growing, right?
Right,
And you
right.
can't you got to take away the positives in life.
Absolutely, I agree, bro. Definitely. So yeah, now there's a lot of things that will always fighting for our attention, right? Like so you got the doom scrolling, we got those keyboard warrior people type, and the next thing I would think of is like shiny object syndrome, that takes away
Hmm.
from our time as well, So you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So really, like, this is something that personally like bothers me about people, not about people, but just bothers me in general, is people feel the need to watch the new TV show, buy the new tech, like whatever is the new thing, like you're either with them or you're against them in that regard, right? Like,
Mm,
whenever there's a new Netflix show, like if you're not watching the new Netflix show, oh, what are you doing? It's you're not in the in crowd, and it's for me, I just feel like that's like, again, just people avoiding what they have to do, or like you said, it's escape. It's an escape for them.
right, right. Yeah, that's true, bro. And that's like in anything, even in high school, you had cliques, either you're with the, on the sports, or you're in this group or you're in that group. So, and if you're not, then you're kind of left out, and that translates into life when you move on. and you get into the corporate world, if you're not doing this, you're not doing that, So yeah, you can feel, a little left out. You can feel like so you we use these things to fill in, and they take our time, shiny object
Hmm.
syndrome, always, right? You see something new, oh, that's better, I got to have that, you know what I mean? So that kind of, that's not good for life management, so we have to work on those things and find solutions to that, so
Definitely. Yeah. And that kind of leads me into it because you just talked about it, but FOMO, because like
mm,
there's a lot of FOMO out there. Sometimes it's engineered FOMO because you want to sell a product, but just people feeling overwhelmed by their lack of knowledge or like just feeling like people are behind, and that's like a big thing that I see. I mean, I feel like that at times a lot too because like I'm comparing myself to other people's success, or the most common example, right? Like you look at Instagram and you see these young people, and they're traveling to a new country every week, or
right.
they have this quote unquote perfect life.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that FOMO, it's funny you brought that up, FOMO, because I think a lot of us experience that, like we feel like we're missing out on something, because again, the doom scrolling, it comes back to that doom scrolling where we see the projected life that people are portraying. Hey, look at my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, look at how great it is. But then you get together with them. We talked about this before, and they have no conversation. There's no anything in there, and it's like, oh wow, everything looked great online, but in reality, it's not, So it's important that, you know, understanding what brings about that FOMO is just it's a portrayal, of showing something that it really isn't, So and that goes back into the shiny object syndrome, things like they really don't have, any sense of direction. This is why, they portray certain things to make it look a certain way. So the reality that I've come to understand is that, FOMO is it's not a real thing, but it's something that was created to give us. It's like a fake illusion, to make you
Hmm.
think a certain way, So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And just to touch back on what you were saying about how, you talk to these people who are, who have a quote unquote perfect life on social media, a lot of the time, if you look at their behind the scenes or whatever, most of their day is spent around making content to make their life look perfect,
mm,
So
mm.
like they themselves are not able to be in the moment and suck everything in or take it in because, you know, they're spending 2 hours trying to make a TikTok, or, they're like going to a restaurant just to say that that they've been there.
Right, right.
So it's
Yeah,
all engineered. It's all so fake.
yeah, it's true, and that's kind of, what leads us into the next thing is like looking at like giving no sense of direction, because it kind of imprisons you, that FOMO mentality kind of imprisons you to feel like I'm not keeping up with this person or that person, and like you said, we feel like we're falling behind, and that's not the truth. The truth is that while you're still on this side of the dirt, so to speak, every day you wake up, you have the opportunity, and that's the great thing that we're seeing even, right now, like with, and I'm going to use technology that, we're utilizing. It's freeing up that time. It's giving you, those things. It's leveling the playground, so to speak, so that the FOMO, can actually be done away with. But it's how we apply these things to our lives.
Yeah, definitely. And the no sense of direction, that's like a big thing as well that I see, especially in my generation, right? Like so many, I mean, I'm sure it's still in your generation as well, I'm sure, but there's just so many lost people, or people that,
Mm,
you know, they don't think about what they want in life. They don't think about where they're going, you know? Um, if I want to bring it back to a quote or a thought leader, Earl Nightingale, he talks about that in his Strange Secret audiobook or audio uh, vinyl, where he talks about, you know, uh, your life is like a boat. If you don't give it any direction, it's going to keep landing up in the same bank or the same area. There's no direction. If you were to take off on an airplane and that airplane had no directions, you know, it would just end up on the same airport.
Right.
And people don't, at least the masses or the quote unquote normie, doesn't really think about where they want to go in life, or where they see themselves in a year from now, let alone 5 years from now.
Right. No, well said, bro. And it does happen, right? I think they coined that definition, right? You keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you expect different results. They define that as insanity, right? So,
Hmm.
it's important that we make changes, and we hope that we can, give some tips and guides, and that our podcast would help you to see it a different light. Like, there's a different way. That's the point, that we want to bring about. We're seeing like things are evolving, things are going quickly, so it's hard for us to keep up with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a simple task, especially as you get older, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Things are, like you just said, technology is freeing up time. It's like making things accelerate, you know. The things that would take a year or two to produce, now it takes maybe a week or two to
True.
produce.
Wow.
And even then, or like furthermore, um, things that would take a whole team of people, you can make that with a team of two.
Yeah, very true, bro. And that's the thing, with the power of the internet. The tools are available, guys. A lot of them are free. There's a lot of different uh, tools to help you to get the life management, in order. There's a few of them out there. Do you have any that come to mind, Joseph? That maybe just the simplicity of, like, maybe a calendar, or a note taking app, so like a second brain, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I am a big believer, and this is a old school technology, but just journaling.
Hmm.
You know, writing out your thoughts, like, you know, spending an afternoon, spending a morning, spending a night, whatever time of day, just write down what you want, or like what happened to you, what you're thinking about. Just writing down your thoughts is so powerful, because not only do we keep it in our head all day, but we never really like map out what we're thinking. And even then, let's say you journal off and on for a month or two. Well, now you can see how your thoughts have either changed or stay the same, right?
Right.
Um, a personal example that I'm trying to change is, like, I've almost written about the same problems for 5 years now, and so I could go in and see, oh, okay, I'm complaining about the same thing 5 years ago.
Hmm.
So that really tells you like what I can improve on.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that is a great hack there, guys. Take that to heart. Journal. Again, just get a paper and a pen. Start writing. You don't even know what to write. Just write anything. Right.
Yeah, definitely. Like, just whatever comes to mind. Like, you don't have to. I mean, you could have a prompt, or you could look up prompts, or you ask ChatGPT or whatever to like help you out. But again, just spend 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes, nothing else. 10 minutes of just writing down your thoughts, and then you'll feel a lot confident, or a lot more confident in what you're thinking, and almost in a way what you're feeling, because you know, if you write about what you felt that day, you know, it's not just like it's more of a concrete thing in your head.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And anytime you write things down, you're able to see, you know, the where you're struggling. You can actually, so it's like a roadmap, right? You're able to see it, and then you can start working with it. So
Yeah, definitely.
an enemy exposed is an enemy defeated. Remember that, guys.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, so write it down, get it out so you can keep moving on. And I would say one last thing just on that is if you feel stressed, like I don't know what to write, just put a little timer, 10 minutes, so that way you know, okay, I wrote one little thing down. Cool. Then the next time, so you don't sit there for an hour still like, what should I write about? What should I write about? So just get something out, get it on paper, guys, and that'll help you to, you know, sort of work about overcoming that lack of feeling that knowledge, the left behind syndrome, the that FOMO, well, for we'll call it that FOMO. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And just for anyone that may or may not know what FOMO is, it's fear of missing out.
Mm,
Yeah.
good point.
So yeah. So the last topic or thing or like I want to touch on like the last thing or topic that got us fired up. Right. So whenever I was brainstorming that topic, um I was just like thinking about the group that we're in, the
Mm,
community that we're in. You know, there's a lot of great people in there. There's a lot of people that I've met, just a month ago at this point, and they've really leveled up my mentality. They've really opened my eyes up as to what I'm capable of. So yeah, tell me the last topic or thing that fired you up.
yeah, I'm sort of in that same boat. For a long time, I was, like I shared before, I'm a low voltage contractor out in the field. So, doing those type of things, and coming into, you don't really have the camaraderie and the community when you're out there, so finding this group and that we're a part of, is been pretty good, and I encourage everybody out there that's listening, find a group that resonates with you, whatever it is. For us, this group happens to be about AI technology and learning the fundamentals, and there's a lot of people at different levels in this group, but like Joseph said, there's a lot of great people, great characters, willing to help and stuff like that. So it's been, pretty awesome to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, it doesn't have to be like a AI community for you, right? Like translate that to whatever you may take that to mean. Whether it's a church group, whether it's a poetry night, whether it's a whatever community or local community that meets up every week or regularly, like do that. Even if it's online or if it's offline, I feel like offline would probably be the best. But obviously, we join the online community, and just being a part of something bigger than yourself really helps you level up.
Right on. Rightly said, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So that also like brings me to the next point, which is the just do it mentality, right? We mentioned that before, and those are words that came out of my mouth at the time where I was really in tune with myself, right? I had just moved to Colorado. I had just graduated high school, moved to a different state, living on my own. And I was talking to a friend, and I was like, you know what? Like, my mentality right now is just do it. And
Mm,
that's whenever my life was really at its peak. And so it's, it may be a very simple phrase and maybe even overused phrase, but it's a very powerful phrase.
yeah, very true, bro. And that's the thing. Even with the just do it mentality, go, 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 go all the time. You can't stay on the go. We're not the energizer bunny that can just keep going and going and going. You will hit burnout. You will hit, different stages of life. That's just the way it is, right? Peaks and valleys. And that's kind of what, our podcast is about, is just finding the way back to your brilliance, so you can get back to that mentality again. So if you're in that position where you're feeling like, oh man, I was on top, I was doing these things, but I don't know what happened and how I got here. Again, just like that, the reference that I gave about the beach, the currents of life carry you to a different place from where you started. A lot of it stems back to procrastination. I can say that for myself because I've procrastinated on a lot of things. I've allowed a lot of time to pass, and like you said, Joseph, you see the stuff you wrote 5 years ago, you're still, you know, seeing it on that page. So that's kind of like procrastination in action. So how do we combat against procrastinating? We just do it. Even if it doesn't feel good, we just do it. If we know that exercise is it's not fun. It's it's work, right? So it's like, ah, man, but we know we have to do it because it helps our health, it helps our well-being, it helps us. So we just got to start doing it, and that's just the key. Just stop making excuses and just start doing it.
Yeah, definitely. There's a great book that I've been listening to. It's called Eat the Frog or Eat That Frog.
Mm,
And it's all about that, right? Like they say, if you eat two frogs the first thing in the morning, your day will not, like, that will be the worst part of your day, right? Like, if you just do the two things or the one thing even that you really don't want to, everything else in your day will be so much easier because you took down that one demon, that one roadblock, that one whatever, right?
mm,
And even going to another quote or concept, I forgot where I heard this from, but anxiety, a lot of anxiety comes from the thing that we don't want to do, right? If we have a messy room and we're neglecting on cleaning it, we're going to feel anxious about being in a messy room or
right,
dishes. And, so our anxiety or our whatever is bothering us, that is telling us what we need to do.
right. Yeah. And those are the senses that are given to us to. We know what we have to do, right? That let's just be honest. We know what we have to do. Sometimes we don't want to. That's why we find ourselves doing the things we mentioned earlier in the podcast. In this episode, we waste time by doom scrolling. Sometimes when we're not feeling it, we jump in and we're trolling people. We're keyboard warriors. We get distracted by that shiny object syndrome. FOMO, sets in. So all these things are just, characteristics that stem back from us not forming that life management, time management. So with that, we do have to carve out time to put things together,
Mm-hmm.
and to make things work together for your good.
Yeah, definitely. And that's basically how I feel about this podcast right now. Like we mentioned before, we're 2 weeks in, going on 3 weeks. I mean, it's probably 3 weeks now because
Right.
we met last week, but it's only a month into it, right? And we every time that we meet up, we're like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it like that, and then we just get to it, and like, just carving out the time out of our week, out of our day, to collaborate on something that we feel is for the better for both of us, right? I feel like this is a very good outlet for me to talk about the things that I'm very passionate about and that I engage with on a daily basis. And also because I just feel like and I've said this before about other things, but I feel like there's a lot of trash online or like a lot of junk food.
Right.
And this is not like a kelp drink, but it's definitely a healthier message out there to just you're able to do what you want in life if you put in the time and effort, if you just do it and get out of your own way.
Yes, sir. And that's the thing, bro. One thing that I learned is that like iron sharpens iron, so it's important and to get together with like-minded people, get around the people that are doing the things that you want to do, so you can learn from them. Maybe you can, collab with them. This is how me and Joseph came together, for this podcast. Like he shared last time, is something that he's been trying to put together since 2014. Guys, that's a
Yeah.
long time, guys. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, the same here. You know, I just was looking for somebody that shared the same mentality, and just looking to help people. That's what we want to do. We hope that our podcast does that for you, that it brings the accountability. That wherever you're at in life, just know that it's not permanent, guys. It's going to change. That's the one thing that we spoke on last time. Change is a constant. So embrace it. Learn from it, keep moving on, keep pushing, just keep doing it. And eventually you're going to start to see things change. And it happens. Life is like the seasons, right? We have, the winter, it's cold. You have, the springtime comes out, it's nice, but we still have a little rain in there. Then you have summer and everybody's out barbecuing, having a good time, and then we're back to the holidays. So that's how life is. It's different seasons, so you just have to learn how to maneuver those seasons and make them work in your favor, and that's by some of these tools and tips that we recommended in this episode. So I hope this really blesses you guys. You got any closing topics or anything you want to touch on?
Yeah, I just want to touch upon that analogy that you gave, the seasons. Jim Rome is a famous motivational speaker, and he talks about life is seasons, right? Like you just said, and like it goes back to the reaping what you sow. You plant the seeds early in the year, you put in the time and effort. Then at the end of the year, you have crop to sow. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and boom, you have crop to sow at the end of the year or whatever season you're in.
Right. Well said, bro. All right, guys. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up for this episode. We want to thank you, for listening to our podcast. Go on to wherever you're listening to this, subscribe so you can get notified when we drop new episodes. Leave us a review because it helps great people like you find our podcast. And we hope you have a blessed day. You take care now.
Bye-bye.